Am I audible, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I shall start off with the class. Okay. The rest they can join. Okay. So previously, which topics did we discuss for CNS? Right now it is CNS. Okay. Uh, I think we discussed on digital signatures and certificates. Right. I shall start with screen sharing. So is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So previously we discussed on digital signatures and certificates, but before that we discussed on Kerberos, right? That is an authentication application, right? So before going on again, actually we had a gap of so many days. So let's do a bit of revision, okay? Just fast track revision. So do you remember the terms? That is, what is encryption, what is decryption? Yes. So encryption means conversion of plain text to ciphertext. Yes, that is which is understood by only the authorized parties. Okay. Then encryption and decryption, these are both used for data security purposes. Okay. Then decryption is also, it is the ulta of encryption. Yes. So process of translating code to data, this is decryption. And then we use encryption and decryption techniques when some message is to be kept secure, say like username then password, and these are all nothing but these are ensuring data security. So just remember that encryption means conversion of plain text to ciphertext and decryption is the ulta. Okay, and these two methods are very important in computer network and that is cryptography and network security or computer network security, and these are used for mainly data communication purposes. Okay. Then encryption, we have two types, that is symmetric encryption and asymmetric encryption. Okay. So symmetric encryption is nothing but data which is encrypted, it is and then again decrypted, that is data which is encrypted and decrypted, this uses only one key, that is both encryption and decryption is done by a single key. Okay, one sec. Okay, so then an asymmetric encryption means they are using two keys, that is one in symmetric encryption we use only a single key, but in asymmetric we use two keys, and those keys, one is known as the public key and the other is the private key. Public key is known to the public, but private key is not known to everyone, it is only known to the owner. Yes. So asymmetric cryptography or encryption, as you can say, this uses both public and private keys by to encrypt and decrypt data respectively. So here one key in the pair which can be shared with everyone, this is the public key, the other is secret, this is the private key. So either of the key can be used to encrypt a message, and the opposite key then from the one which is used to encrypt, that is used for decryption. Okay. Then public key, we know it is one which is known to everyone. Private key, this is only known to the user, that is the owner. Then authentication, so we have properties of cryptography and network security. Okay, that is we have authentication, non-repudiation, integrity, and message digest and digital signature. So these five properties are very important in order for data communication to take place securely. So first is authentication. So we already have gone through these, this is just a revision. Okay, so authentication is nothing but it first verifies the identity of the user who wishes to access the system. Okay, so it authenticates the user. So this is a process by which the system, it verifies the identity of a user who wishes to access the system. Then message, that is non-repudiation. Non-repudiation is nothing but we have one party, suppose, and that party consists of a sender, a receiver. Okay, so what happens, this process, that is non-repudiation, this is to ensure that whatever message is transferred in between the parties, that is the sender and the receiver, whatever message is transferred in between the sender and receiver, they have to be claimed to be sent by the sender, and then it has also to be like it has to be claimed that the sender has sent it, and the receiver on the other end has received it. So non-repudiation is a very important technique. Why? Because it is used to guarantee that the sender who has sent the message and the receiver who has later received the message afterwards cannot deny that the sender and the receiver has not sent and received the messages respectively. So that is a very unique characteristic of CNS. Then integrity is nothing but whatever message is passed on during the transmission, the process integrity, it ensures that that data or message is not altered or changed during the transmission. And then message digest. So message digest means it is represented in a form of text, and that text is consisted of a single string of digits, and that single string of digits, it is created using a formula which is known as one-way hash function. So today we'll get this in my next PPT. Okay, then again message digest, what it does, it encrypts that is a message, encrypting a message digest with a private key, it creates a digital signature which is an electronic means of authentication. So these are all nothing but terms of authentication or terms of authenticated process. So when encryption of message digest takes place, that too with the help of a private key, it creates a digital signature, and that digital signature is also used for electronic means of authentication. And then finally digital signature. So digital signature is nothing but it is some mathematical formula or technique that is used to identify or validate the authenticity and integrity of a message or software or digital document. Okay, so these are the types. Then we have key generation algorithms that we'll be discussing again, and then signing algorithms also. These are also forms of creating digital signature. Okay, then we have going on to the next, that is today we'll discuss another authentication service or application, that is the second type, which is X.509. Okay, so first we studied is Kerberos, and secondly today we will study X.509. so these are all authentication processes, so different processes which have different properties. Okay, so here we will study today is symmetric cryptography, then private or public key algorithms, secure hash function, and digital signature again. So going on to symmetric cryptography. So symmetric cryptography, you know now. In symmetric cryptography, what happens is whatever encryption and decryption takes place, that takes place with only a single key, that is the same key. The same key is used by the sender and the receiver to encrypt and decrypt the data. Okay, so symmetric cryptography, this concept is based on secret ciphering key, that is the private key. Okay, so symmetric cryptography, example AES, this is used for data encryption. Okay, and data encryption you know now, conversion of plain text to ciphertext. So whatever terms I'm using it, accordingly you try to remember those terms, accordingly you try to recollect those definitions. Okay, so now I'm using the term symmetric cryptography. It means the same key, that is the same private key, is used for encryption as well as decryption purpose, and data encryption means conversion of plain text to ciphertext. Okay, and then a secret ciphering key, or you can say private key, this is used for both encryption and decryption, and condition is there, that is one recommendation is there, that whatever bits it's used, whatever key bits is used, it should be 128 or 256 key bit. Okay, this is recommended. Then the private key must be known by both the client and server, and it must be exchanged in a secure way in between them. Yes, that is the same key is used, the same private key is used, and both should be known only to the one party. That is the party who is actually transferring the message in between them. Okay, so this is an example of symmetric cryptography. So this is the ciphering key, that is the private key. See, this is the encryption process and this is the decryption process. So Bob here is the sender, Alice here is the she is the receiver. Okay, so Bob is sending a message using a private key. So what happens after encryption? It is sending it, Alice is receiving it with the same private key, it is decrypting and then it is getting the original message again. Okay, so this is symmetric cryptography. Just remember, you can only remember a single just the terms, okay, just the concept, that is what is symmetric cryptography. Symmetric cryptography, it uses the same private key for both encryption and decryption. Okay, in that way you remember, and then you can cite this example, so it becomes easy for you to remember also. And when you describe a definition or a concept using an example like this, it's actually scoring. Okay, you get more marks. Even if you suppose sometimes you forget the definition also, if you remember the figure or the image, you automatically can remember the definition as well. Okay, so this is the process of symmetric cryptography. Then going on to public and private key pair. So public and private key pair, these are some unpredictable large random numbers. Okay, so here you can see this is the public, this is the private key, this is the public key, and this is some large random number. So how this private and public key is generated is some large random number. It is uh, originated, that is it is originated with the help of some key generation program or algorithm. Okay, so the key generation algorithm or program is using this large random number, and then it is generating this private key and the public key. So private and public keys, these are nothing but some unpredictable large random numbers. And also you can remember simply as public key is the key which is almost known to all, that is it is public, since it is public, and private key means it is only known to the owner. Okay, so public and private key pair, it comprises of two uniquely mathematically related cryptographic keys. So public key is made available to everyone and private key is confidential to its owner. So whatever is encrypted with public key may only be decrypted by its corresponding private key and vice versa. Okay, definitely whatever message is encrypted with a public key, that is we have one pair each. This is we are talking we are talking about asymmetric cryptography now. Okay, symmetric cryptography, that is only one private key, so there is no pair, of keys, there is a single key, that is the private key. Here public and private key means this is related to asymmetric cryptography. So in terms of asymmetric cryptography, whatever is encrypted, that is whatever message or data is encrypted with the public key, it is also decrypted with this corresponding private key, that is it is a pair. Okay, 1 plus 1. So for public and private key pair, this is used by asymmetric cryptography, and this is asymmetric cryptography, this is used for confidentiality. Okay, this is used for confidentiality, that is it is confidential, and it is also used with digital signature, and digital signature means this is related with authentication purpose. Okay, so public and private key, always remember, this is mainly used for asymmetric cryptography and digital signature. Okay, then we have asymmetric cryptography. So asymmetric cryptography you know now. So asymmetric cryptography means, now we talk about a public key algorithm here. So public key algorithm, that is asymmetric cryptography is composed of public key algorithm. Okay, just a sec. Okay, So asymmetric cryptography is consist of a public key algorithm. That is, asymmetric cryptography is comprised of public key algorithm, and public key algorithm or cryptography, it is a class of some cryptographic networks or protocols which is based on algorithms or techniques that requires both public and private key pair. Okay, so as we already spoke about asymmetric cryptography, that is, asymmetric cryptography, it has to contain a pair of keys, and that pair of key is nothing but it consists of a public key and a private key. Okay, then it is using some cryptographic protocols based on the algorithms. Then public key may be disseminated widely. That is, public key, as its name already defines, it is public to all, and private key is secret and it is only known by the owner. Then public key, it is used to encrypt the message, private key is used to decrypt it. Yes, say again, asymmetric cryptography is depicted using the help of this diagram. So here again the same example I am taking, that is, Bob is the sender, Alice is the receiver, and Bob is sending some message, it is trying to encrypt. After encryption, it is sending it, and how it is encrypting, it is encrypting using Alice's public key. Okay, now Alice is generating both keys, that is, these keys, this pair of key, it belongs to Alice. So Bob is sending this message by encrypting it using Alice's public key, and then Alice is again decrypting the same message using her own private key. Okay, so here see, Bob uses public key of Alice to encrypt a message, and Alice is the only one that can decrypt the message because Alice is having her private key, right? So Alice is the only one that can decrypt the message, and the message remains confidential to anyone else since they did not know Alice's private key. So it is only known to Alice. Then we have secure hash algorithm. Okay, so see, these are all different types. Okay, these are all different types of cryptography now I'm talking about. That is, asymmetric cryptography is based on public key algorithm. Then secure hash algorithm, this is based on integrity of data, and integrity of data we already know what is it. Integrity of data is nothing but this is a process which ensures that whatever data transmission has taken place between the sender and the receiver is not altered or changed during the transmission process. Okay, that is integrity. So here hash functions are used to map data of arbitrary size to data of fixed size. Okay, so here you can see this is some data of arbitrary size and this is data of fixed size, and what this security hash algorithm is doing, it is using some form of hash functions. Okay, hash functions also we have different types, I'll discuss. So hash, here it is using SHA-256 hash function. Okay, so hash function 256, this is, so what happens, hash functions are used to map data of arbitrary size to data of fixed size. So in cryptography what happens, hash function produces a checksum, and this is the nothing but the hash value whichever we were talking about previously. So this is the hash value, and this is used to verify the data integrity. Okay, so this is nothing but SHA hash algorithm means this is integrity of data, and integrity of data means nothing, this checking the authentication of the message, that is, it is checking whether the message is altered or not, that is, it is ensuring that the message is not altered during the transmission. Okay, so in cryptography the hash function which we are talking about, it produces some hash value, and that hash value is used to verify the data integrity. Okay, so simple, it is used to verify it is used to verify the integration of the data. Okay, then cryptographic hash function, it has three important characteristics. Okay, that is, first is minor change in input data completely changes the hash value. That is, whatever input data you have already given, if you try to again keep some minor changes in it, it completely changes the hash value. Then secondly, easy verification that some input data maps to given hash value. Okay, so it easily verifies whatever input data it has given to some given hash value. And thirdly, it is difficult to reconstruct input data from hash value. That is, the input data is different, hash value is different. So you can give input data to hash value, but you cannot again regain back the input data from the hash value. So whatever is given, you can't get it back. So this is the example of secure hash algorithm, that is SHA, and this is some arbitrary size data, and this is fixed size data. And this SHA function, this is mapping the arbitrary size data to some fixed size data. So this is a very famous cryptographic hash function. So we have other types of hash functions as well, but this SHA algorithm, this is a very important and famous cryptographic hash function. That is, this is only widely used. So we have three types, that is SHA-0 to 3. SHA-0, that is already obsolete, that is no longer in use. SHA-1 is deprecated since 31st December 2016. Okay, it came into being on December 2016. Then SHA-2 is currently recommended, which is being used nowadays, and SHA-3, this is the newest version. Okay, so just remember we have four types of SHA versions, 0 to 3. 0 is not used nowadays, it is obsolete. 1 was used it was used way back in which was originated in 2016, and it was used way back, but now SHA-2 is currently recommended and SHA-3 is the newest one. Okay, so this is about SHA, that is secure hash algorithm. Then we have digital signature. Digital signature, we already know what it is. So digital signature, it is used for authentication and integrity of data. Okay, that is digital signature, it is used for both authentication as well as integrity. Authentication is that, do you remember the concept authentication? So authentication is nothing but it is making sure that whatever message is sent between a particular party, it is authenticated. Okay, that is, the system is authenticating the user before it can use the system. Okay, that is authentication. And integrity of data means, that is, it ensures that the data transmitted between the party is not altered in between. So digital signature ensures both authentication and integrity of data. So digital signature, this is very important. It is a very important concept because it is used in both authentication as well as integrity of data. Okay, so digital signature, it uses asymmetric cryptography, that is, it is used in asymmetric cryptography. That is, asymmetric cryptography used for data authentication, and cryptographic hash function, this is used for data integrity. That is, cryptographic hash function is nothing but SHA. Okay, that is secure hash function. Okay, then this is example of digital signature. Okay, that is, this is signing and this is verifying. So you already know this. When you sign into some account, this is the process. So this is internal process. We already know how it is signed, how it is verified. Okay, then we have combination of symmetric and asymmetric algorithms. Okay, so combination of symmetric and asymmetric algorithms, this is some session key exchange. It is talking about some session key exchange. So talking about first, it is it is comparing both the cryptography types, that is symmetric and asymmetric. So symmetric cryptography here, it is a fast encryption requiring less processing power. That is symmetric cryptography. It is a very fast type of encryption which uses, or it requires, less processing power, and it secures exchange of ciphering key that is necessary. And in asymmetric cryptography, what happens is, it is a slow form of encryption method, and it is based on some long keys, that is 2048 bits it uses. Okay, so it is also mentioning the key bit. Then it requires public key infrastructure. Okay, so here it is given an example. So exchange of session key between Bob and Alice via asymmetric cryptography. So asymmetric cryptography we already know, that is, it uses a pair of public and a private key. and the private key is only known to the owner of the key. Then exchange of session key between Bob and Alice via asymmetric cryptography, then symmetric cryptography based on this session key. So this is just they are showing some session key exchange. That is, they are comparing the symmetric cryptography and asymmetric cryptography. Just remember these two properties. Okay. Then we talk about the second type of authentication application, that is X.509 or X.509 certificates. So what is X.509 certificate? So X.509 certificate, it is an authentication application which is used for ensuring authenticity and integrity. That is, this is similar to digital signature. Okay, it is similar to digital signature. See, a digital certificate certifies the ownership of a public key by the named subject of the certificate, that is the owner of the certificate. Then digital certificate itself is protected by a digital signature. It is digital signature whose authenticity can be verified by the public key of the certification authority that issued the certificate. Okay, now we are going on to some complex topics. Okay, so try to concentrate on the basics. Okay, try to concentrate on the terms, because sometimes even I get confused with the terms. Okay, so X.509 certificate, this is used for authenticity and integrity purpose, that is data which is transmitted between the parties, authenticated parties. So a digital certificate, so suppose this is a digital certificate, it certifies the ownership of a public key. So public key we know by the named subject of the certificate, that is named subject of the certificate means they are talking about the owner. Then digital certificate itself is protected by a digital signature. So this is a digital certificate, there some digital signature is there, so this digital certificate is protected by a digital signature whose authenticity can be verified by some public key. Okay, we are talking about the public key itself. So digital certificate is there. Digital certificate, it consists of digital signature, and this digital certificate is why this digital signature is there, because the digital certificate is protected by the digital signature, and this digital signature, this authenticity again can be verified by certification authority. So we have three basics here, that is the issuance of digital certificate, and issuance of digital certificate, it relies on the digital signature, and that digital signature, it relies again on the public key of certification authority. That is, certification authority is nothing but the authorized party who issued the certificate. And this, suppose this is an example, this is an example of X.509 certificate. This is the structure, that is, suppose this is using some version v3. Okay, then serial number is this, then this is the signature algorithm, suppose, then this is the issuer, that is whoever has signed the certificate here, then this is just example, then validity it is given, that is from this date to this date, and subject, what is secured by this certificate, that is what this comprises of, this is some website name is given, and this is the public key. Okay, so this is X.5. We'll get more concepts. I'm taking it step by step. Okay, then we have certification authority. So we spoke about certification authority. So this is nothing but this is some trusted third party that issues the certificates or the digital certificates. Okay, so certification authority, its work is to issue certificates. Okay, and that certificate is signed with the private key of the certification authority. Okay, so this is very confusing actually, a public key, private key. So step by step, in like slowly and gradually you'll be able to understand. Okay, I'll keep revision sessions also for this, so don't worry. Then so certification authority is nothing but this is the third party which is a trusted party, and this issues certificates. Okay, and this certificate is signed with the private key of this certification authority. Private key of certification authority means what? This key is only known to the certification authority. We are not talking about the private key now. Okay, public key now. Okay, we are talking about the private key of CA. And CA's private key must be very private. It is the basis of all trust for issued certificates. Yes, definitely. So it is issuing with the help of the private key of CA only, because this is very important, because so that no information leaks, because this is the, say, reputation of the organization also. Okay, then this is example of CA. This is the certificate. Suppose this is the hash function. So suppose hash function, suppose SHA. So what does SHA do? SHA, it combines, that is, it maps some arbitrary data to fixed data, right? So this is using hash function. So then again, this certificate, this is again encrypted with CA's private key, and then the digital signature is that is, it is originated. Okay, so this is then this becomes digitally signed certificate. So previously it was not signed. So how this signature has arisen? So it is talking about the arising of digital signature. Okay, how it is encrypted with CA's private key and all. Okay, so this is certification authority. Then comes obtaining digital certificate. So just remember that we have a digital certificate, and that digital certificate is authorized by a uh, this is authorized by a CA. Okay, that is certificate authority, certification authority, so CA. So just remember that digital certificate, it comprises of digital signature and a CA. Okay, so that digital signature, it is that, okay, digital certificate, the digital certificate is authorized by digital signature and the CA. But digital signature also, before it gets authorized, it is again authorized by the CA. Okay, so just remember, digital certificate comprises of digital signature and the CA. Then how this is obtained? So this is some certificate signing request, suppose. So a certificate signing request, that is CSR, it is sent from an applicant, this is the applicant, to a certificate authority, that is CA, in order to apply for a digital identity certificate. So this is an example, that is how applicant is requesting for a signing request to the certification authority, and this process takes place. That is how it is. Suppose this is the applicant. So applicant, this is generating a key pair. One is public, one is private. Public is known to all, private is only known to him. So then it is building the certificate signing request. Then signing request, then sign certificate signing request with some private key, that is private key known to only the applicant. And then this is sending the signed CSR to the certification authority. So see, like, before the applicant can send this CSR to the certificate authority, this processes takes place. And then after this applicant is sending the signed CSR to the CA, these things takes place. That is the certificate, that is the certificate signing request. It consists of a distinguished name, an organization, the address, the email, and the public key, that is of the applicant, and this is the signature. Then this is sent to the certification authority, and then what the certification authority will do after it gets these requests from the applicant, it is again generating the digital certificate, that is the digital certificate for the applicant, then signing the digital certificate with CA's private key, that is its own private key, and then it is sending digitally signed certificate to the applicant back, and this is digitally signed certificate. Okay, guys, we have a lot in our plate, so let's stop it here for today. Try to digest this. I'll take up this topics again in the next class as revision session, and then I'll go on with the digital certificate topics again. Okay, what's the time? Okay, it's about to 2:40. Okay, join the next session at 3 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. All are present today?
Yes, ma'am, except Rupam and Safikur.
Except Rupam and Safikur. Okay.